Okay, so there's been a developing news story this morning, and I'm going to keep this concise because I've got space limitations. But once again, India and Pakistan are on the brink of war. And as always, it's a very dangerous situation because we're talking about two nuclear powers. Um, so, just a little rundown since 1947, since partition, there have been numerous conflicts between these two countries. 1947, 1965, 1971, 1999, and the Kargil War is four large scale conflicts. Then there's been other conflicts, the Sachin conflict and standoffs in 2001, 2002, 2008. There's been border skirmishes in 2011, 2013, 14, 15, 16 to 18, and there have been strikes. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia rundown here in 2016 and now this year. Well, today, Pakistan has shot down two Indian craft, or at least that's what they say. India has said one of them at least was from a technical fault. But clearly, the temperature has been risen here. Last week, India suffered the worst attack on its military in a long time in Kashmir. I believe 40 personnel killed, and the group responsible is an Islamist group by the name of Jaish-e-Mohammed, Pakistan based. I think the danger here is you have a toxic combination of two powerful countries. India is the more powerful of the two, I would say. But Pakistan is not a small power, it's still a significant country. Two powerful countries, and they both have ultra nationalism, widespread ultra nationalism. That has been very obvious in India over the last few years. And you have two leaders who very much play to populism um, with Imran Khan in Pakistan and Narendra Modi in India. I've been looking at, well, if you could call it a debate. I mean, the coverage on NDTV is pretty much all, oh, it's all Pakistan's fault, and that's kind of predictable. And I have no doubt the coverage in Pakistan will be it's all India's fault. And I don't want to trivialize this as two squabbling school kids, but it's kind of predictable. The Indian side's going to blame Pakistan for everything, say, oh, they're escalating it. Pakistan's going to blame India for everything, oh, they're escalating it. And unfortunately, it's all grandstanding because both sides are pitching the ultra nationalist rhetoric. I mean, it's understandable that India responded strongly to that terrorist attack. I'm not even going to get into sovereignty of Kashmir because that's a very complex subject. Um, but there needs to be responsibility from both sides, and part of that is having a degree of humility. I mean, both countries like to point fingers at the old Raj, but like I say, since partition, there has been at least four bloody full-scale wars and numerous smaller conflicts, not to mention the ongoing Kashmir conflict. So it's just very sad that in the year 2019, it's still the same old rhetoric. And this is a very dangerous situation. China has very wisely been neutral on this, although they're much closer politically to Pakistan. I think the Chinese, it's not often I praise the Chinese government, but they're taking the right approach and they're saying that both sides need to calm the temperature because inevitably civilians will suffer if this leads to war. And both sides are guilty of serious human rights abuses. Again, there's hypocrisy in this because when Indian nationalists like to attack the evil British Empire, look at what's happened post independence. Both countries have a lot to answer for in terms of human rights abuses. Both militaries have a lot to answer for in terms of human rights abuses. And because of ultranationalism, India may be the world's biggest democracy. And I am looking more at India here because it claims to be the world's biggest democracy. It is in terms of population. But there is actually press freedom's a major issue, I believe, in India because of ultranationalism. and the military is kind of above reproach. It's something I've noticed when I've seen these debates going on. Any sort of notion of human rights abuses in Kashmir by the Indian military, or other areas for that matter, is immediately pounced on by nationalists. And there is definitely a rise in ultra-nationalism under Modi. Pakistan, well, the obvious problem there is Islamism. Goes without saying. I mean, bin Laden, of course, was in Abbottabad for years, and I still believe Pakistan's got a lot to answer for there. And it's true, their security forces, thousands of Pakistani troops and civilians have paid with their blood in the fight against Islamic extremism. But I mean, the Azure Bibi case shows what's going on in Pakistan, and Imran Khan is pandering to it. I don't believe he is personally a hardcore Islamist, but he is pandering to the mullahs. By not letting her get safe passage out of the country, he is pandering to the mullahs, and it's a damn disgrace. You have two countries that I believe are held back by religious extremism. In Pakistan, it's obviously Islamism, and that's more of an international problem. But let's not beat around the bush. India does have a problem with far right Hindu extremism. So I'm looking at this situation and I'm seeing two countries that have no shortage of domestic problems now on the brink of war, and it's a very worrying situation. And I just hope that better minds prevail and that this doesn't escalate.